And here we go. Spawning in the bottom right position. The red Zerg player, he needs to win this game or he is done. From StarTail, it is life! He's found some interesting ways to bounce back after each loss that he's had. But he's up against one of the most capable Terran players in the world, proving he is not just active in the summer. From Team Liquid, the blue Terran, it is TaeJa!
I really thought coming into this series, the way that TaeJa was acting, the way that he was, behaving, it really felt like he was just expecting to lose this. He mentioned on Twitter that he wasn't feeling great. He mentioned in the pre-game interview that the settings weren't ideal for him, but he's giving us a fantastic performance here. A nail-biting series. 3-2, Liquid TaeJa is currently leading. Look at that, there are drone scouts moving around from life and scouting around for anything. Is he going to go for that hatchery on the other side again?
Well, I do like him using the scout. A 2-rack would probably be one of the worst ways to lose this tournament at this point.
But he didn't check the left-hand side, which makes me really confused why he would do this.
He is sending a drone to his own natural, though, so I don't think he'll be quite as aggressive as we've seen so far. Maybe if he saw a command center on the high ground, then he can make a snap decision, but the hatchery's been in place in his own natural this time. And he's just trying to do a little bit of damage to the SCVs with that drone. Nothing serious. And I feel like you should also anticipate that it'll be Reaper. TaeJa hasn't won Barrack 6 fast expanded, I don't think, at all in this tournament.
And I think one advantage which Life can have in the early stages of this game here is that it is a small map. Overlords will be able to get in good positions early. They'll be able to scout inside the main, they can scout on the natural to what's going on over there, and it is very difficult for TaeJa to hide anything from Life in this game. And it's almost that he can't hide aggression, but he cannot hide his greed either. So if there is a fast third command center, we talked about the likelihood of Life trying to take this game in the early stages, and I think information gathering is going to be vital in the decision making that we can see from Life here.
And it's a very important thing to note, especially considering that Life has actually made a lot of aggressive plays that weren't able to kill his opponent, still work in the long term. He's able to bring a lot of pressure and not actually be as far behind as maybe the common spectator, even just as a player seeing the games, would make you believe. So there's a lot of options. The Reaper will come in, though, for TaeJa, and he's going to confirm that Life is going with his standard. He's sticking to his guns. Hatchery, gas, spawning pool. Can he get some drones? This is where TaeJa tries to set the momentum of the game, set the pace of what could potentially be his crowning game.
Well, if the Reaper goes through the mineral line, he would get surrounded, which is why he didn't chase those 2 low-health drones. But he's going to swing around again. He gets 1 drone. And does not get a second. So 1 drone kill, better than he's had before. He hadn't got any previously. But we do see TaeJa's build starting to take shape. He has a factory down and a second gas now.
A very fast second gas relative to any other build that he has done.
Yeah, and this can mean it can mean a couple of different things here. Could be Cloak Banshee. It could be the spin-off where we see even an armory being built here. It could be a second factory. What is he looking to do? What is that going to be coming down? Is Starport?
There it is. The Starport's on the way. He could still very easily build a tech lab, and this could just be a Banshee play. He doesn't quite have the gas yet to go for anything like an armory. So there is the tech lab. With the second gas, he can actually go for a very quick cloak. But actually, look, he only has 4 SCVs mining gas. He's actually taken 1 off of each refinery. So he's not committing with the full gas mining. He's not going to pump out a lot of Banshees, it seems, or at least go. He might even still be able to avoid getting cloaked, but still get his upgrades faster.
Life spotted the second gas, but he didn't see that there was 2 SCVs inside, which is a bit of a big difference compared 2 to 3, and 3 would be there, that it could be quite a big investment. He's able to click on the refinery to see how much has been mined from it, realizing that it is a fresh refinery there, and he does know that something's coming. But doesn't know exactly what. He never went in deep enough to find a starport.
Yeah, and that Banshee is on the way. He has the option to get Cloak, but he's not taking it. And I actually really like the way that TaeJa's opened up with this, because the Hellions and Reapers bring pressure. But by getting that refinery and just mining with 4 SCVs, 3 SCVs will bring in 100 gas a minute. By just using 4, he's going a little bit over that. He's actually going to get the Cloak, but it allows him to still keep a lot of minerals on the table. He can get his production up faster. He can build the engineering base earlier, and as we see here, this 3rd command center as well.
All right, 2 Hellions, 2 Reapers, hand and wheels down the map. All going to cross paths with the Zergling. Zergling does run back to its creep. So double evolution chamber is on its way, but that's quite a few Hellions now. These queens are going to have to defend. There's not that many Zerglings, and 4 queens will push this back for now. He's got to be careful though. 4 queens is not enough to defend against this. If they come back in again, he will have to start producing Zerglings, which he is doing.
Yeah, Hellion Reaper Banshee
well.
can be pretty difficult to deal with just the queens or even just Zerglings, as it all comes down to the control of TaeJa, really. I mean, life makes some magic happen with Zerglings, but those Hellions can be very difficult to grab off of creep. But TaeJa's engineering base are finishing up. As I said, a much more crisp timing compared to the last game on Derelict, or at least the game on Derelict, where his upgrades were much later. It's a bit more evenly paced this time around, despite still getting the Cloak out with the Banshee. It's a small adjustment, but it's basically TaeJa saying that if he doesn't do any damage, kind of like Derelict Watcher, he's not as far behind as we saw.
All right, well, we are starting to see some more drones being saturated towards that 3rd base. Cloak was cancelled, and Zergling's trying something up here, but they don't do anything. Do spot the 3rd command center, I imagine. Well, of course they do. And these Hellions do retreat back. So in these 2 positions, with the openings that we've seen, TaeJa going for the Cloak Banshee here, or the initial Cloak Banshee, but regular Banshee, is this an investment which hasn't paid off again, like we saw on Derelict Watcher?
Well, typically, at the very worst, a Cloak Banshee can force a reaction, and that's usually at least a Spore Crawler at each base. But Life's actually gotten away with just 1 Spore Crawler. He hasn't invested too much into defending, so I think I feel like he's on the upper end of this because he hasn't gotten many kills. But that being said, the lair's about to complete, and the window for TaeJa to hurt these unprotected bases is closing very quickly.
Well, let's find out if he can get in that window. He's found the queens, trying to creep spread in the middle of the map, and loses a Hellion there. Transfuses, or at least one of them is on that queen. Command center's being placed in a different position to what we see usually. It's going to be in the forward base, a more aggressive stance. Do you like this choice here?
I think it's one of those positions that allow you to really press towards what the Zerg player would normally take as their 4th base. Typically speaking, you want to press it out by that 3rd, you get a bit of the map control area, but it prevents them from dropping between your 4th base and your main, where your tech is, where your valuable buildings are. And the Spire is coming in, but TaeJa holds off another little wave of Zerglings, and Life in turn actually decides to take that base on the right side. He saw the command center on the left, and he's saying, I don't want you to be able to rally, because one of the cool things about TaeJa's decision to do this is that if Life tries to do counter harass towards a 3rd base, the normal 3rd base, it's a lot easier if TaeJa's pushing on the left side of the map. But now TaeJa's rally actually covers his 3rd, so he can defend a little bit more easily as these Zerglings do shove him back. But TaeJa's already found out he lands the Viking, and he's actually going to deny this 4th with just Hellions and Reapers.
Wow, that's a pretty big move here by TaeJa, and it is going to get cancelled. I can hardly imagine it. No, he doesn't even get cancelled. Actually gets picked off there. He really wanted to save that. And that's a nice start here for TaeJa, edging towards a victory on this map. 2-2's on its way with combat shields. He can pick up these units to get out if he wants to, but he can turn around and fight. He does have more, and these queens a little bit exposed. Baneling speed not quite ready, seconds away. And losing the queen here, TaeJa getting a lot of small victories already in this game.
Yeah, he's starting to scoop up a king-sized lead as he presses in. The creep hasn't really been able to move towards the side of the map. These Hellions are still alive, 12 minutes. Just now picking off most of them, TaeJa leaving them there. But the thing is, TaeJa's economy is starting to flourish. There's no 4th hatchery. As a Zerg, ideally, when you see that 3rd command center, you want to try to press towards having that 4th base up. But he's being forced to plan even econ, and we've seen where this game goes if Life can't gain an advantage through the run buys or by having that economic lead. And this could be a repeat of the Whirlwind game if TaeJa can maintain good splits and cost-effective trades.
And without creep spread around that 4th base, it's going to be even harder for Life to fight against the awesome control of the army that TaeJa will be absolutely wanting to deploy on this right-hand side. But for now, he's moving to his opponent. Xel'Naga Tower will take it. We'll see the army on the right-hand side.
Banshee finally snapped up.
Yes, it was. Zerglings, Mutalisks forward. That fourth base hasn't even finished yet for Life. And we saw what happened on Whirlwind. Without that fourth base, Baneling counts are low.
Well, Widowmine picks off a few Zerglings for free, grabs 7. Nothing too bad outside.
He's just making the march in, Nathanias. He's coming down to this base. He starts it up with a drop, and now he begins his march. He's going to take the ramp, and Life has to defend this. He cannot lose this. He really cannot lose this hatchery.
And without the creep there's nothing he can do. There's the cancel on it, so TaeJa maintaining that even economy, and with the mules, that means he's ahead. So 2-2's finishing up for the Terran as well. TaeJa's army is becoming supercharged, super powered, and Life's had this force ready for a counter towards that northeast side, but he hasn't done anything with it. He hasn't made anything happen because the rally comes straight out of here, and if TaeJa reacts in time, it'd be very difficult to deal damage.
And there's the counter-attack coming in from Life, trying to turn this game around. He gets into the natural. A couple of Banelings get in there, as well as a fight going on the left-hand side too.
The Widowmine picked off the Banelings that were going for the SCVs. TaeJa just needs to defend this third base, but there's so many Banelings. If these SCVs escape, it'll be a miracle. They even get in the bunker, running for their lives, and not able to connect on all these workers. TaeJa's still hanging in there, but the Zerglings moving into the main base. He did clean up some of the SCVs in the natural. He's getting as much of a trade as he can. Muta swing back towards the third. Life knows he needs to make something happen now if he wants to stay alive, and he is doing it, but TaeJa still has a massive army.
He's brought his opponent's economy down to just 43 SCVs. The army size is a little bit equal here. We see down to the bottom right, 112 for TaeJa, 96 for Life. And he is going to come crashing in. There's Widowmines behind this bunker. I'm not too sure if this is the best fight he can take there. Widowmines, when are they going to detonate on this right-hand side? They do connect.
Cleans up about 5 Marines. That's actually a pretty good shot for Life, but steps back, letting the Marauders tank some of these Baneling hits. And there's a lot of Marines. That fourth base is being rebuilt on the left side. And like I said, it's a stone's throw away between TaeJa's third. And he can get there very quickly. There's not even creep spread between there. It's no creep spread at that fourth either.
TaeJa's marching forward. He still has a good amount of income. And he's going to eliminate some creep, and another counterattack has been launched by Life. He's going to go towards the natural. TaeJa turns around.
He didn't rebuild that wall, so the Zerglings can get straight in. Widowmine doesn't do too much damage. TaeJa is going to chase this force back to his natural expansion. The Mutalisks should be able to escape, though, as the production, the Marine's not going to come out quite as fast. Might be able to snipe a reactor before he leaves.
He's completely destroying the economy of TaeJa. The SCV count is dropping, and meanwhile, he's been able to establish that fourth base and get his own economy up and running. Some awesome moves here, and we've seen it throughout this series already. Actually, hold that thought. There are Marines here looking to trap these Mutalisks.
Playing with fire. I feel like we've seen this situation before. Pretty comical, but he does manage to slip out at the cost of a few mutas and his Overseer.
But remember, with the SCV count being so low, yes, the overall supply leans much more favorable towards the army size, but to replenish it is the big difference. If Life takes a good fight, a good trade, then it's going to be a lot more difficult for TaeJa to rebuild that. Only down to 36 SCVs. Some awesome moves here by Life to get back into this after losing this for time after time after time.
And Life's Mutalisks have bought him a lot of time, allowing him to set up a big Baneling defense at his fourth base, trying to go for an engagement. Widowmine's actually trying to take out some of these units, going for the counterattack. And Marines are hurt pretty badly. There's no medevacs to heal them, but a nice defense from TaeJa, holding those counter swings, and suddenly the supply even once again. Worker lead for Life, though, does mean that TaeJa has more fighting units.
TaeJa has a lot of units back at home to defend against counterattacks, but he also has a lot of units on the left-hand side as well. And is he going to be able to move towards that fourth base? Life realizes he doesn't want to lose that fourth base. Banelig's come in here, not the best of trades. Actually gets a decent amount of Marines, but there's a lot more Marines where they came from. The Mules are quite high in numbers as well in the sky. And look, it's an equal game between them. The supply is so close.
Widowmine aids quite well. Marines are running back with that Thor, and he looks like he might be able to get a nice position on this base. The Banelings detonate on Marauders. There's still a lot of Marines here for TaeJa. Denying this fourth base could put a nail in the coffin of the economy for Life. He's been denied this fourth for so long. It really comes down to making these Mutalisks cost-effective in every way possible, and this is another way. There's no missile turret at the third of TaeJa.
Uh-oh, there's Marines inside that main base. Got to be careful. These are 3-3 Marines as well. And that fourth hatchery was picked off. A nice move by TaeJa to bring his opponent's economy down, as well as, you know, trying to keep his own alive. 36 SCVs. This is a nail-biting game here between these two players. But with that 4th base being picked off, the Banelings again are going to have a very hard time to keep their count high, to deal with the high Marine counts.
And it's really, really difficult for Life right now in this position, but trying to take the base on the right side again. TaeJa's actually running out of money as well. He's replenished, he's got like 36 SCVs. He does have a lot of energy stored up on these orbitals. He could float out the main command center to the 3rd base area. It's actually still enough, I think, worth a couple meals inside of what his main base was. But TaeJa, it's still one of those situations. I think if either one of these players takes a single bad engagement, this game could be over for the other. And Widowmine not able to do any shots. The Zerglings once again slipping in, dealing some damage to the economy of the Liquid Terran player.
And they're getting into the main base as well. I think there was a drop to the bottom left, but that has been answered by StarTale Life. Mulus, oh!
Huge score for TaeJa, pressing that back. The Zerglings finally being cleaned up inside of that main, but he's splintering off more towards the 3rd of TaeJa. The SCV's under attack. He's actually making sure to pick off missile turrets as well so that the Mutalisks maintain their utility. And at the same time, the 4th hatchery's completing. The long-distance mining drones can finally get some money. TaeJa scans like, okay, this is, you can kind of, almost, if he had laser beams coming out of his eyes and he focused straight on that base, he knows that is a #1 priority target, because these counterattacks will make taking a 4th a nightmare for TaeJa.
And TaeJa trying to build up an army big enough where he can defend at the same time as attacking because of Life's relentless aggression. And TaeJa should start to want to make the march to the right-hand side. Does not, as you say, does not want that 4th base to be mined from. It's crucial for this game considering how low of an economy game this is. And look at this, TaeJa's got a lot of units in the middle of the map chasing down the Mulus. We do have Banelings on the left-hand side which do get stopped, and that is a lot of Marines. Mulus getting ripped from the sky, and he's going to make the march towards his base. TaeJa, Life really needs to be able to defend this.
And there's 5 Banelings, 20 more on the way, but they won't be here in time. This hatchery will fall. Again denied economy is the StarTale Zerg. The Banelings are chasing up, but now they'll be advancing off creep, so he can't really press this. Widowmine gets another shot, and even if the splash damage doesn't kill a clump of Mutalisks, at this point, every single one of them is worth their weight in gold. And now TaeJa dropping the Mule Rain onto this fresh mineral patch.
Is really swinging in favor of TaeJa. Look at the income numbers to the top left. He's gaining a lot of money through having that base, and he's stopped Life from mining. Life needs to do the same. He needs to stop his opponent from mining from that. Otherwise, the army strength is going to become way too big. Look at the supply differences already starting to take its toll on this game. And TaeJa starting to take a big lead here with that mining base compared to his opponent who isn't at this point.
TaeJa trying to get in position to close this game out with that flourishing economy. Widowmine's getting some nice shots on these Banelings. There are more Banelings headed towards that 4th, but not able to make anything happen. TaeJa's ready. He catches it. He looks on the left base. He can't even afford to try taking this 4th again. The Team Liquid Terran wants this victory, wants DreamHack Winter, and he wants that 1st place prize over Life. He's pressing into the 3rd base. The Banelings, this will be the last defensive maneuver made by the StarTale Zerg. The Banelings are all gone. It's just Mutalisks versus Marines and 2 Thors. This is not a fight that Life can win. There's nothing left to go for counterattacks with. The rest of the army coming down the map for TaeJa. Pushes in. The 3rd hatchery's gone. The 4th base on the right side. His last hope, his last vestige of his own for defense, but 60 supply lead for TaeJa. Moving towards the natural. Drones getting snapped up. He's got the economy. He has the army.
The Mulus have to fight, but they don't want to fight against 3-3 Marines in the Thanatos. They really don't want to take this fight, and TaeJa is taking a massive lead. It looks like TaeJa is going to do it.
Final unit TaeJa is your winner for the DreamHack Winter 2013 Grand Final.